Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Icarus and this is an extra bonus for this week because no, I am not reviewing the books that I read and said I would be reviewing. That's going to be this weekend. I just finished watching the new Netflix show Dead End and I wanted to talk about it just briefly. So what is it? It is an animated show online. Netflix, like I said, it just released today. It takes about 5 hours to watch because it's 10 episodes, about 20 to 30-ish minutes long. And it follows the two characters, Norma and Barney, as they accept a job at a haunted theme park and kind of have to save the day over and over again. My spoiler-free review is it's cute. I enjoy the characters such as they are, and I kind of wish there was more there. I'll be getting into that in more detail, but I would still watch a season 2. It's hooked my attention enough that I would be willing to watch it. But what is it about? Where does it come from? Apparently, it comes mainly from the brain of Hamish Dill, who wrote the original graphic novels, of which there are 2, and apparently a 3rd one is in the works. And it has been picked up not just this once, but also by Cartoon Hangover's online stuff. I saw a short from that, or the short that was made for that, and it's different, but some of the humor still comes through. The sort of Adventure Time-esque humor that seems to have bled through a certain era of cartoons, and you can still get hints of it in Netflix's adaptation. The graphic novel purports itself to be a quirky, lighthearted, LGBT diverse story, and that is definitely bleeds through. In some ways, that is really good. I actually decided to watch the TV show solely because I learned Barney is an explicitly trans, on-screen trans, has to deal with some very familiar and somewhat painful issues trans, blue-haired, overweight dude who is gay. The other main character, Norma, is a very socially anxious, very obviously autistic coded character, and she is obsessed with this theme park and the actress behind it. The theme park itself, this actress, Pauline Phoenix, it's Dolly Parton. She's Dolly Parton with the big hair, the gap tooth, the accent, the over-the-top personality, and she's been in everything from horror to western to soap operas to singing to insurance commercials. She's done it all. There's even conspiracy theories around her that actually are plot relevant, and it's hands down, Pauline Phoenix is my favorite character. I'm sorry, Barney. You only get so far by being me. The final main character, I would say, is Courtney, a little red imp who has been stuck in the neutral plane, aka Earth, for God knows how long. All she wants to do is go down to hell because she thinks that it's going to be better for her. It's going to be the place where she belongs. And honestly, those are the only well, no, I lied. My brain is dumb. You would think me being a dog person. There is another character. His name is Pugsley. He is a pug. In the very first episode, he gets possessed by a demon lord and gains the ability to talk and some limited magical powers that ends up causing as much trouble as it does save the day. But, okay, so what are my feelings about this? Especially fresh off of a 5-hour binge. It was okay. Honestly, If I had to compare it to some of the other stuff that I've talked about, it kind of. So we've talked about Q Force, and it honestly has some of the same problems that Q Force has, where a lot of the stuff feels very shallow or brushed over, and there is character development, mostly with Barney and Pugsley, especially with Pugsley. Uh, Courtney as well, but I'll get into that, her plot, in a minute. But everyone else feels a little bit flat, or not quite cardboard cutouts, but very similar to it. This is a TV show that should have had more episodes, and not in a I want to know more, I want to have more, I need more. The story and the plot really suffers from not having more episodes to let characters grow, to let relationships form, because this entire story is taking place over a summer vacation as Norma and Barney are trying to get a job, their very first job. And it sounds like a decent chunk of the summer went by, but we don't see it. So let's talk specifics. Barney. Barney and Pugsley. They are definitely the most developed characters throughout the season. Barney is doing this job partially because he wants to get out of the house, and partially because he wants to save money and get away from his family. He has apparently recently come out, and his parents are accepting in that they are letting him transition, and at least socially and through what he wears and everything. If not medically, that doesn't come up. But they also say the right things in the way that you would imagine someone who is confused and struggling to try and say the right things to support their kid, but they're torn up and they don't understand to say. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. And they've also allowed his grandmother to be a complete total piece of shit to him and expect him to just deal with it. So he ends up running away and living in Dead End, which is one of the themes in the show. It's where Courtney lives, and it's like a little haunted house area that I guess is just not running because I don't see it being used as an attraction. Pugsley is Barney's dog and best friend, unconditional love. Don't really have too much more to say. Pugsley's character development literally comes through him getting possessed by a demon, most of it getting sucked out, and then him sort of having the ability to talk and interact with people, as well as have some magical powers and learning stuff from a spell book. He is a fairly static character in the sense that throughout the entire thing, he loves the people. He prefers people over even imps like Courtney, even though she has become part of the gang. And he just wants to do what's best. He, but I like him because he's cute. Let's be real, I'm a dog person. We knew that was coming. Barney and Pugsley end up moving into Dead End, like I said, and Barney is dealing with this. He wants to go home, he wants to be accepted, but he doesn't want to go back to dealing with his grandmother. He doesn't want to feel like he's having to repress himself. And throughout the entire thing, he got an immediate crush on Logs, who is just the dude that runs the log ride. Norma comes up with nicknames for the secondary characters or the tertiary characters, and honestly, that's about as much personality as they get. Barney ends up, by the end of it, he is able to reconnect with his parents and not go home. He's staying in Dead End, but he's willing to go and visit as long as he's not being around his parents. And he's going on a date with Logs, so nice. He honestly, he gets what he wants and what he needs, without having to change himself so much, except to go and have an honest conversation. And you know what? I'm here for that. Now, Norma, our other character, primary human character. She is very clearly autistic. She has a very high social anxiety, and she has been obsessed with this theme park and with Pauline Phoenix since she was a little kid. She loves the macabre, she loves the horror, she finds that so much better than reality. And it's not only pretty obvious, but it comes out explicitly in one of the episodes. She is our book knowledge character. She knows everything. She believes in Pauline. The betrayal hurts her the most, but she gets over it very quickly, which, again, part of why I feel like the show just needed more room to breathe. And she ends up befriending another character that she calls Death Slide. Norma also kind of stays the same throughout. While her social anxiety, and her dislike of being around people kind of fluctuates throughout the show because it's hard to have a character where she has to interact with people, but needing to remember to bring that focus in, except in like deadpan little jokes, which is what they usually do. It's hard to reconcile that, especially again because it's so squashed down for time. And Courtney, like I said, Little Red Imp, she is the one that tries to seal the Demon Lord soul into Pugsley to try and get back down to hell. There's layers. The above floors are heaven, neutral plane is earth, and then down below is hell. And that's all she wants to do throughout the show. She becomes a sort of begrudging friend of the other three, including Pugsley. And she has her villain turn, of course, because again, she wants to go home. It turns around really quickly, but she doesn't fully just become one of the good guys. She kind of forces Pugsley to go face his literal demons. And that was nice, but it was one of those story arcs that came from a mile away. But my favorite character is Pauline Phoenix, and most of the show is focusing on the mystery of what's going on, why did a stunt double of Pauline's disappear, and what's happened to Pauline. And we learn what's happened. She's Dolly Parton, guys. Pauline Phoenix is Dolly Parton. You can see it in her character's design. You can hear it in her voice. She has a theme park. She's been in everything from horror to soap operas to westerns to songs to insurance commercials. Everything. And there's like just no way around it. Pauline, and this is heavy spoilers, is dead. She apparently had a terrible history with practical stunts, and she insisted on doing a practical stunt instead of her stunt double Barbara, who everyone calls Barbara, and Norma's the only one that gets it right. And Pauline dies. Pauline comes back as a ghost, and she possesses Barbara and uses Barbara's body for several years to continue her own legacy. And since then, she will use the different stunt doubles or the impersonators of the park to continue to create and form and do what she wants to do. And I will give the show credit. It does build in the idea of possession and all of that fun stuff pretty well. Again, like I said, it's just crunched for time. It didn't have the space for me to really care about these characters, besides Pauline, because I am but a simple bitch. The best episode, I believe, is episode 9, and it's a musical episode. The only parts that really dragged for me were Courtney's parts because she's doing an I Want song to go down to hell. And I knew from the start that she would go down, it wouldn't be what she thought it was, and she would come back and try and help save the day. That's exactly what happened. And it would have been fine if I had more time to care. I'm not very good at these review things, am I? I really don't have too much more to say. Like, I told you about my favorite characters. I've told you my favorite episode being the musical episode. And I think part of that is the very first episode had a little short ditty about anxiety. I was like, oh, I like that. And then this episode had just everyone singing, of course. And having Barney having to confront his crush for logs was very nice. The fact that he always runs away, and it ties into the fact that he ran away from home. He's running away from his grandmother. He ran away from his brother, who's nothing but accepting of him and wants to be around his big bro. All of these things, and it culminates in him having to kind of flirt with logs and ask to be released. And it's good. It's good. It's just it's a little hollow, but it was a good show. I liked it. It has that kind of sense of humor from Adventure Time, with some or some referential jokes to other media, and some of the deadpan shtick stuff, like I can't even remember. A lot of Norma's anxiety ends up coming through in her making jokes about it, which I get, but it also, again, just fell flat for me. And I don't know if that is a sort of me problem because I've been reading and consuming media that kind of does that sort of thing all the time, or if that was an actual problem in the show. I would need you guys to give me feedback on that. But yeah, that's all I've got. Like I said, it was cute. It was fun. I do want to watch the season 2. I'm curious if some of the problems that I've had with this season would be resolved now that some of the characters are more established. Maybe we could see some of the side characters, because that is part of what the graphic novels are being built for, is the idea of a diverse cast of characters that I don't really get to see in the animation. It does make me want to see if I can't pick up the comics at some point and see what changed, what's remained the same, if there is more in depth because it has the space for it, or if it's one of those pieces of culture that are lighthearted, good, but I'm ultimately disappointed in it because I came into this hoping for more. I think that sums it up pretty well. Like, I went into the webcomic Boyfriends not really expecting much, and I enjoyed reading it. I went into this hoping for quite a bit more because it struck all of my boxes between ghosts, blue-haired trans guys who are gay, and Dolly Parton, but it just didn't deliver. But yeah, guys, tell me what you think about it. I am super curious, and I'll see you this weekend. Like I said, I've got 2 books to review, and I look forward to it because they were so good. All right, talk to you later. Bye.